In cause number 1926763, State of Texas versus Tony Earls, we the jury found the defendant Tony Earls guilty of the offense of manslaughter as charged in the indictment.
That was the moment minutes ago when the verdict was announced for the Tony Earls manslaughter trial.
Yeah, you saw it live on Eyewitness News at 3. ABC 13 reporter Jessica Willey has been covering the trial since last week and joins us live with this big new development. Jess?
Yeah, it took the jury just about an hour to reach this verdict, guilty of manslaughter. This after 4 days of testimony and closing arguments this morning. The family left the courtroom. They were emotional. They met with prosecutors, and now we believe they have now left the courthouse, waiting to speak, they tell us, until after the punishment phase, which begins tomorrow. They have dubbed Andy Kahn of Crime Stoppers, their family spokesperson for today, to give reaction to this verdict. Earlier, he told us that this was a long journey to get to this point. Remember, Tony Earls was not indicted initially by a grand jury on murder, but the family was persistent, and a special prosecutor took up this case, eventually representing it to another grand jury that got him indicted. Now, we expect to hear more from prosecutors, like I said, as well as the family tomorrow after the punishment phase, but let's listen in to that verdict.
In cause number 1926763, State of Texas versus Tony Earls, we the jury found the defendant Tony Earls guilty of the offense of manslaughter as charged in the indictment.
And it was a quick one. I think everyone was taken by surprise by it, but you could hear a pin drop when the verdict was read. No audible reaction from the family, but as they walked out, they had tears in their eyes. Before the verdict was read, they gathered in the hallway and prayed. They have been living with all of this for 3.5 years. Tony Earls shot at a robber on Valentine's Day 2022. Video was played in court multiple times during the trial, showing that robbery. It all happened about the same time that the Alvarez family was driving by. 1 bullet out of 10, the prosecution contended, sailed into the family's truck and struck Arlene in the head. The prosecution emphasized that he was reckless and angry and did not act like a reasonable person would have acted. The defense said he was within his rights under Texas law, thought the robber was shooting at him, and feared for his life. Here is a little of what both sides argued during closing arguments earlier today.
I've never heard of the state giving so much benefit to an aggravated robber as they have in this case. And the reason that they're doing that is because we know good and well the robber should be in this chair. He's the most responsible. But they got to have someone that they can get a scalp from to give you.
There is a right for a family to be able to drive down the block on Valentine's night. Have you thought about that? The day of love. And they're driving to dinner. They have a right to not have that man fire into their car because he's pissed off. Make no mistake of it, that man was not fearful anymore. That man decided he was angry and he was going to do something about it.
And the attorneys, very emotional during closing arguments. The jury wrapped by it in front of a packed courtroom this afternoon. The prosecution closed its final arguments with the last picture taken of Arlene. It was from 14 hours before her death. Prosecutor John Jordan said she's holding a Valentine's Day gift that she gave to her teacher that morning. Well, and she was sitting in the same spot in the truck where she was shot later that night. Again, Tony Earls guilty of manslaughter just a couple of hours ago. Punishment phase starts tomorrow morning, and he could face anywhere from probation up to 20 years in prison. We're live from the Harris County Criminal Courthouse. Jessica Willey, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.